Well, it's been fun. This month we've been looking at TV shows celebrating the time-honored trope of the Halloween episode. So I've been picking out some of my favorite Halloween episodes by decade. Last time I talked about the 2000s with The Simpsons, and this time it's the 2010s. And this is the last installment for now. Yeah, I know. Maybe another time I'll come back and do more Halloween TV shows because this was really fun. Anyway, when it comes to the 2010s, I'm not really sure if the Halloween episode trope was as much of a thing as it used to be. I mean, sure, there's still many options. My first instinct was to go with Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which I think is one of the funniest shows that's ever existed.
That's when Dee came in. Oh, hey Dee.
They didn't do much with Halloween, but there is an episode called Who Got Dee Pregnant, which is a hilarious episode, but they use Halloween as just kind of a backdrop setting, even though the idea of costume switching does have a lot of importance to the plot. If you saw the episode, you know what I mean. There's plenty of kids shows like Flugels, Peg Plus Cat, Wild Kratts, Zoo, Littlest Pet Shop. You can find a Halloween episode almost anywhere. But I got to pick something that goes down as one of the greats, something I've already mentioned that just needs some attention, and that is South Park. I've been watching South Park since it first aired, and I only stopped recently after it turned into the Tegrity Farm Show full-time with no signs of ever turning back. Yeah, I don't know what the hell happened to South Park lately and why it became dedicated to perpetually repeating one single unfunny plot thread. But up till that, it was a great show.
Hello, family!
Well, my pick for the 2010s is the episode Nightmare on FaceTime from season 16, which aired on October 24th, 2012.
Oh wow, it's the Avengers and some Captain FaceTime skateboard guy!
The reason I picked this one is because it has a great deal of nostalgic value to me, as it centers around a Blockbuster video store and is also a great spoof of The Shining as well.
I'm coming! Oh, look, Wedding Crashers!
Typically, if you were to ask me in the beginning who are the main characters of South Park, I would say it's the kids, Stan, Kyle, Kenny, and Cartman. But over the years, Stan's dad, Randy, just kept getting funnier and funnier to the point where he kind of steals the show.
Grrr! You know what? Fuck you and Emily!
I think something might be wrong with Dad. You think?
He looks like he would be just a boring dad character, but he defies that and goes in the opposite direction. He's full of exaggerated cartoon antics. He's also full of ambition, always has some bright new idea that backfires. I mean, you never know what the guy's going to be up to. Until now, the only thing he does is sell weed on a farm. Ha ha. But anyway, in this episode, his new venture is buying Blockbuster Video.
You are all looking at the new owner of Blockbuster Video.
This was in 2012, and by now, Blockbuster and video stores have long since declined, though still exist. He's super thrilled. He thinks it's going to make him a millionaire, but his family is not feeling it.
Blockbuster Video?
Also, I just got to say, I love the fact that it's actually Blockbuster and not Crop Duster or some kind of name change. The family and everyone else continue to make jokes about how this is all obsolete.
It's awesome. You should try to get it on that Ancient Civilization show so that people can see how cultures used to live.
Everyone streams movies now, but Randy holds his ground. That Blockbuster is gonna make him a fortune.
We're gonna have customers up our ass, Sharon. Up our ass!
Especially when Halloween comes and everybody's gonna be renting horror movies, right? Time and time again, he's proven wrong, but Randy, being Randy, is just too stubborn and cannot concede.
The average person still wants to rent movies they can hold in their hands.
As someone who holds on to physical media, I can say it's all very relatable. We like to cling on to old things, and we can even have valid points. Like Randy says, it's better to be able to hold on to something tangible in your hands. But you gotta admit, streaming made it so convenient, it's impossible to compete with.
You excited, Stan?
Huh? Sorry, I'm watching a movie on my iPad.
So, as I mentioned, the episode is also a spoof of The Shining. The Blockbuster is the equivalent of the Overlook Hotel, so ancient that it's haunted.
Oh, I get it. Video stores are so old they have ghosts in them. Okay, thanks.
The spoof is sold well through the use of familiar music from The Shining, first heard when he's driving up to the store with the family. They also use the ominous title card showing the days of the week. If you've seen the movie, you'd immediately get the reference, and that always makes an episode better to me. For example, in the 2006 episode, Hell on Earth, in which Satan throws a big party, was a spoof of an MTV reality series, My Super Sweet 16, which I never heard of, nor would ever care to watch. So because I didn't know, I must have missed a lot of the humor. But with The Shining, I'm fully on board. So Randy's only customers are ghosts, but he keeps laughing it off.
Let's go rent a movie at Blockbuster. Ha ha ha, ha ha.
Meanwhile, the kids are out trick-or-treating, which checks a major box to show actual Halloween Day, with kids in the neighborhood all dressed up.
We've been planning this Halloween for 2 months, and Stan has to go and ruin it.
Stan is the only one who has to sit it out, as he's stuck at the Blockbuster with his family. However, he does participate virtually using his iPad. The modern equivalent, of course, plays in contrast with his dad's old-school ways.
Stan, get off the damn phone. People are going to start calling to reserve movies. Go!
I like how the other iPad, the one he's talking through, is on a skateboard. That extra effort to make it seem like he's there is something I've seen done in real life, often during COVID 2020, but let's not dwell on that nightmare. Anyway, the kids all dress up as the Avengers, keeping current as the first movie came out the same year as the episode. Cartman, as the Hulk, is really upset that people aren't understanding his costume, and he blames it on Stan not actually being there in person. I find that especially funny, the idea of people trying to do a coordinated cosplay, but one person throws it off in some way. I feel like I've seen that kind of thing happen a lot in real life. But Cartman, of course, blows it out of proportion, getting way too mad about it, as he always does.
How are people supposed to get that I'm the Hulk when Captain America is on freaking FaceTime?
Meanwhile, Randy is having no luck at the video store, no customers. From the outside, it appears abandoned, and when some bypassers see Randy appear in the window, they run away, thinking it's a ghost. And from there on, Randy's loneliness sets in, just like Jack in The Shining. We see him pacing around, talking to himself. They got the posture and the body language down. I like how every now and then he fidgets, and then he goes to straighten out a VHS tape. I mean, that's a nice touch. I love whenever they emulate specific shots from The Shining, like that creepy close-up of his face just staring. It all gets instant laughs from me. It's so well done. Then he goes up to the counter, just like when Jack goes up to the bar, and talks to the bartender who's a ghost or hallucination. But here it's a clerk. Instead of being desperate for a drink, Randy wants to rent a movie.
I'll take a DVD of RoboCop 2 and the director's cut of Blade Runner. Coming right up.
It's a bit odd since Randy would already be the clerk, but it doesn't matter. So this dialogue scene takes a sinister turn, just like it does in The Shining. Here, after talking to the clerk, Randy is now determined to defend the video store's honor at all costs, even if it means turning against his family.
You are the owner of Blockbuster, Mr. Marsh. You must be willing to do anything. No!
In the next scene, the kids see criminals breaking into the convenience store, the come and go. Lovely. They decide to act like real superheroes and stop them.
Cartman, smash!
Inside, it becomes apparent that the criminals are actually trying to rob the Redbox machine. Redbox, I'm sure most people know, is basically the vending machine version of the video store. I've never actually used them before, but they do have a sort of nostalgic value to me. They are still around, and whenever I see one, I think of it as sort of a reminder of the video store in the form of a smaller, compact version, kind of like a shrine to commemorate that era. So even though I never rented from one, I do have some kind of fondness for it. Well, in this episode, even back then, it appears there's no money inside, or at least hardly any, so the criminals misjudged it in the same way Randy did. The kids abort the hero mission after they see the clerk has been killed, but the criminals want to stop the witnesses, so they manage to capture and interrogate Stan, even though he's just an iPad.
No! Okay.
They find a flyer for a costume party and assume the other kids are there, so they go after them. The kids tell the police the criminals will likely show up there, so the cops devise a plan to send iPad Stan undercover as this sort of combo character. So he's Captain America, Gangnam Style, and Frankenstein, and they call it Gangnam Stein.
Oh, wow, nice costume, Stan. It's Gangnam Stein. Shh, don't say my name, Butters.
Anyway, the party is cool. That checks another box, seeing a Halloween party in action. Ever since The Great Pumpkin, it's always fun seeing various animated characters in costumes. It's one of those things where it's fun to rewatch just to look at all the different characters. Back at the video store, we see Randy staggering around just like Jack, and it's really funny how they match The Shining so well with crude geometric cartoon characters. So just as Stan is about to identify the criminals at the party, Randy takes his iPad and begins to go on a rampage.
Hey, I can't see! Where do I go?
You think I'm crazy for buying Blockbuster?
The person inside the costume is staggering around only because he can't see and no one's directing him where to go. He leaves the party and barges into someone's home as remote Randy terrorizes the family for watching movies on streaming.
I'm looking at people watching movies on their Xbox.
And then he barges in on some kids who are watching what he calls Halloween 4.
Streaming Halloween 4, ha ha ha!
I like how the scene on the iPad doesn't even match any scene from Halloween 4. It's just Michael Myers generically stabbing somebody. I find that funny for some reason. So Randy gets shot down by the cops, or should I say the person in the costume gets shot down, and also the criminals get arrested.
Well, I hope you guys have learned that crime doesn't pay. Not with the convenience of online streaming, it don't.
It's funny because it sounds like it could be an advertisement for streaming. It's just a well-timed, well-delivered line, and it has a tiny touch of sadness to it that physical media is dying. Stan takes back control of the iPad, then the iPad's battery starts to die, and they treat it like Stan is actually dying.
Oh, God. Somebody give me a charger!
It's a good jab at our dependence on devices and shows the shortcomings of these devices too, possibly scoring a very subtle point for the older days. Then Randy wanders out into the snow, a raving maniac, and just like Jack, freezes like a stone-cold statue and while holding DVD cases. But unlike Jack, he doesn't die. He's just numb and frozen. The store burns down. His family comes to his aid, but he's so bummed, he doesn't want to move. His wife Sharon asks him if he wants McDonald's, and then he slowly gives her his McDonald's order, which is a really funny and calm way to end after all the commotion has subsided.
Chicken nuggets.
Then, as one little final touch, Stan takes the DVD cases from him and gives him an iPad. I'm not sure what it's trying to say here, but it seems this is the moment where streaming has won over physical media, but I also got the impression that maybe Stan was going to take those DVDs and watch them. So, I don't know, when did streaming really take over, and has it fully? I think as long as there's still people watching physical media, it'll still live on. Streaming is more convenient, but I do like to keep physical media around and would never want to see it disappear. I think it's just like vinyl records and cassettes. It has a niche and a purpose. So I like how this episode sort of celebrates it while making fun of it. And in over 10 years since this episode, it still holds up.
Oh, I get it. Blockbuster sold, it's creepy, ha ha.
Anyway, I really enjoyed looking at these shows. I'm looking forward to doing more sometime. So happy Halloween and see you next time.
I think you have some very definite ideas about what should be done with Randy, and I'd like to know what they are.
It's alive! Indeed.
Little pigs, let me come in.
Come on down and chump some of this shit.
We'll tear your soul apart.